All right, today we're going to dive into Grafana. If you've ever felt like you're just drowning in a sea of data from your systems, well, this tool is designed to be your lifeguard. Let's dig into how it turns all those raw numbers into a story you can actually understand.
Oh yeah, if you're in tech, you definitely know this feeling. You've got your apps, your servers, your databases, and they are all just spitting out a constant flood of information. It's just this overwhelming stream of numbers that honestly feels a lot more like noise than a useful signal. And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. Without visualization, that data means nothing. I mean, what's the point of having all that information if you can't make sense of it? And that right there is the fundamental problem Grafana was built from the ground up to solve. It's all about turning that noise into a clear visual story.
So what's Grafana's big idea? Well, it's a unified solution. Instead of you having to juggle like a dozen different clunky tools, Grafana came along as this super flexible, open source platform designed to bring all of your monitoring into one single pane of glass.
This slide really shows the before and after, and it's a huge deal. In the old days, you were stuck. Your monitoring tools were hardwired to one specific database, and that was it. But with Grafana, everything changes. It's data source agnostic, which is just a fancy way of saying it doesn't care where the data comes from. It can pull from Prometheus, MySQL, the cloud, you name it, and put it all together in one beautiful, interactive dashboard.
Okay, so how does it actually pull this off? You might be thinking the technology behind this must be incredibly complex, but the architecture is surprisingly elegant. It's actually pretty straightforward. Let's break it down.
It really just boils down to a simple three-step flow. First, you connect your data sources using plugins. Easy enough. Then, Grafana's backend, think of it as the engine, goes out and queries those sources for the information you ask for. And finally, the UI, the front end, makes it all look good. It renders that data into the awesome graphs and charts you actually interact with. This clean separation is the secret sauce. It's what makes Grafana so powerful and flexible.
So that's the high-level architecture. But what does it actually look like for you, the user? How do you go from a raw, messy data source to a polished dashboard that your whole team can get behind?
Well, the workflow is just as logical as the architecture. First, you connect your source. Let's say it's Prometheus. Then you write a query right in its native language, so in this case, PromQL. After that comes the fun part. You pick how you want to see it, a graph over time, a single big number, a table, and finally, you just save that panel to a dashboard. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful loop for creating insights again and again.
Now, making a single graph is useful, for sure, but where Grafana's true power really shines is when you start combining different types of data. This is where we get into what the industry calls the three pillars, or my personal favorite, the observationality trinity.
You see, to truly understand your systems, you just can't look at one thing in isolation. That gives you tunnel vision. You got to see the whole picture. And that means you need to correlate three very distinct types of data.
First up, you've got metrics. Think of these as the what. A metric tells you what is happening. For example, CPU usage is at 90%. It's a number, a measurement. It tells you the facts, but it doesn't tell you why.
And that's where logs come in. Logs are the why. So you see that CPU spike in your metrics, right? You jump over to the logs from that exact same time, and bam, there it is, an entry that says error out of memory. Aha, now you have context. Now you know why the CPU is so high.
And finally, to complete the picture, we have traces. Traces are the where. This is so cool. Traces follow a single request as it travels through all the different microservices in your system. This tells you exactly where the problem is located, pinpointing that the out-of-memory error is happening deep inside the payment API call. And just like that, you have the what, the why, and the where. This is how Grafana, especially when combined with tools like Loki and Tempo, gives you that full story.
So we've got this incredible tool that can visualize metrics, logs, and traces all in one spot. But what's the real-world impact of all this? Why is this so incredibly crucial for modern teams?
Well, the real impact is just how broad its appeal is. Look at this list. It's not just for DevOps and SREs anymore. You've got data engineers building performance dashboards, you have business analysts tracking KPIs in real time, and when you see that it's trusted by organizations like NASA, PayPal, and Shopify, you know this is a seriously battle-tested tool.
Ultimately, this is the main takeaway. Grafana isn't just about making pretty charts. It's about taking all those raw, meaningless numbers and turning them into actual, actionable intelligence.
It gives teams the power to detect, understand, and resolve issues faster than ever before.
So I'll leave you with this. Every system, every application, every single user interaction, all of it is generating data that's telling a story about its health, its performance, and its value. The only real question is, are you ready to see it?